Hey guys, this is Miss Smith. I'm going to be doing your word study practice C and D today. All right, for practice C, this is the one where it says to choose two words that best explain or define the bold root word. So you have your vocabulary words here. You need to pick the two words out of your answer choices that are most closely related to the definition of that word. So number one, we have the word memoir. Your choices are personal, fantasy, record, and fiction. All right, well, I know that a memoir is going to be a personal story because it's something about an event that happened to a person. All right, the only other one that really makes sense is a record. Now, this is not talking about a record like we looked at with one of our words the other week, like a record that would make music. This is a written record of something. So I'm going to go ahead and mark my other two choices out. All right, number two, we have memorialize. You have useless, important, remember, and memorize. Okay, well, I know if I'm going to memorialize something, it's not something that's useless. I do know that you only want to memorialize things that are important. So I'm going to circle B. Okay, then we're left with remember and memorize. Now, if I'm memorializing something, I don't necessarily need to memorize everything about it, but I am going to remember a lot of things about it. So in this case, C is just a little bit better than choice D. Number three is the word memorable. We have exciting, unforgettable, boring, and routine. Okay, if something is memorable, you're going to remember it. It's going to be something you think about, something that's in your mind. So there is not going to be any way that it's boring because you're not going to really remember boring things over others. Something that's routine means something you do all the time. So something memorable would be different or exciting. So it's not going to be a routine. So that leaves us with exciting and unforgettable. Number four is the word memento. We have large, expensive, souvenir, and keepsake. All right, so looking at these choices, a memento does not have to be large, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but it is very similar to a souvenir, and a keepsake is basically the same thing as well. Number five is geology. Rocks, photosynthesis, gravity, earth. All right, well, based on my definition of geology, I know that I'm looking at the earth or I'm looking at rocks. So that's not going to be photosynthesis, and it's not going to be gravity. So I'm going to choose earth and rocks. Number six, anthropology. We have animals, societies, humans, and bacteria. Well, when I look at the definition of anthropology, I know that I'm focusing on people, humankind, things like that. So that's not going to be animals. Societies would be part of what would make up humankind. Humans obviously do as well. And then bacteria is not going to fall into that category. All right, number seven, etymology. Words, language, insects, and disease. Okay, well, I know that etymology is studying words or the words that are made up or that make up a language. So I'm going to choose A and B here. If I look at C and D, I can tell that these two really don't go along with what etymology focuses on. All right, number eight is the word science. We have fantasy, opinions, facts, and proof. Okay, when you think about science, you are looking at scientific proof, scientific facts, things that are real, things that have been proven. So fantasy would be made up. That's not going to work. Opinions, people do have opinions about science topics, but your opinion is not the scientific fact. So that leaves us with C and D. Number nine is conscience. We have ethics, morals, fun, and playful. All right, well, we know that your conscience is what tells you right and wrong. So that's going to go along with your ethics as well as your morals. So we can mark out fun and playful. And then number 10, conscientious. We have careless, disinterested, careful, and accurate. Well, if someone is conscientious, they're going to pay close attention to things. They're going to look at little details and want things to be done correctly and to be done well. So that's not going to be someone who's careless. Someone who's disinterested is really not going to care too much either. So that leaves us with careful and accurate. All right, practice D. These are the analogies. Remember, you are looking at the first set of words that you're given. You figure out how they are connected, and then you find the set of words below that has the same connection. Okay, so to start out, we have microscope and science. So we know that a microscope is used in science. So let's look at our other choices here. The only one I see that makes sense would be C, because you would use a tractor when doing construction. All right, number 2, anthropology and culture. So anthropology will study cultures. So looking at these choices, the only one here that's really going to make sense will be biology. You study photosynthesis. Now we do have rocks and geology. They go together, however, they are in the wrong order. We would need geology first and rocks second in order for it to follow the same pattern. So that's why C would not be correct. All right, number 3, we have memoir and past. Well, we know that a memoir is going to be a story about something that happened in the past. So if I look at these different choices, in this case, science fiction typically is a story focused on the future. All right, number 4, we have evil and conscience. All right, well, we know that your conscience helps you to know right or wrong. Evil is going to be doing the opposite. It wants the worst to happen or things that are bad to happen. So we are looking for antonyms here. So in this case, I'm going to choose useless and value, because those would be opposites as well. Number 5, we have words and etymology. So in this case, we know that we are studying words in etymology. So if I look at these, the only one here that makes sense, we study the earth in geology. Number 6 is memento and remember. So a memento is used to remember something. So if I look at these, the only one here that will work, a pen is used to write. All right, number 7, we have conscientious and laziness. Well, if someone is conscientious, they pay close attention to detail, they work hard, they want things to be done correctly. Someone who's lazy is doing the opposite. So we're looking for antonyms again. So if we look at this, we're going to choose cowardly and bravery. Number 8, geology and science. So we know that geology is a type of science. So if we look at our choices, the only one here would be that football is a type of sport. All right, number 9, we have memorable and forgotten. Okay, if something is memorable, you remember it. If something is forgotten, obviously you forget about it. So we're looking for antonyms again. We want things that are opposite. So if we're looking at this, the one that we need to go with would be exciting and boring. All right, the reason that we chose exciting and boring instead of lose and find, because those are also opposites. Memorable and forgotten are both adjectives, so we want adjectives to be used in our answer pair as well. These would be verbs, so that would be why we choose D instead of C. So if you have two that are very similar and follow the same pattern, look closer at the actual words themselves and pay attention to the parts of speech. All right, then number 10, we have statue and memorialize. Well, we know that statues can be used to memorialize something or someone. So if we look through these, helmet is used to protect.